Okay, well, hello. My name is Tanya Sheldon, and I am so excited that we get to share this information with you tonight. And if you are seeing this back and someone invited you to see this information, what a blessing this is for you. And we just consider it an obligation that we need to make sure as many people as possible get to hear about what we have to share. I am blessed enough tonight that I get to share with my dear friend and colleague, coworker, Laura Nowicki. And before we get started, I want to make sure that you also know who Laura is. And her and I, as we do this presentation tonight, is going to kind of be a dance. You're going to hear me talking about, well, Laura has chosen some specific products. You're going to see the pipeline of products that we have for our company called LifeVantage. And then Laura has chosen some specific products that she wants to make sure that you know about. And you're going to get to hear her passion behind those. And that matters because let's talk about Laura. Laura Nowicki is a mom of 7 children. She has always been passionate about education and health and wellness. She's an amazing educator. And Laura worked in public health for a number of years, teaching nutrition and breastfeeding classes before staying home and homeschooling her children. After her own health concerns years ago, and again, when each of her kids experienced a concussion, Laura delved back into research on nutrition with a concentration on brain health and nutrigenomics. She is now certified in functional nutrition and health coaching, which has furthered her knowledge and understanding of the ever-changing field of health. Isn't that the truth? So we will get started, and I'm going to share my screen with you, and we'll get the night off to the races. Bring it up here. Okay, so again, our company is called LifeVantage. I was introduced to this in October of 2011 at a time when I was very open to opportunity and open to opportunities to help my husband with his health. And you will see the biggest transformation I've ever witnessed when we show his picture later. But these are products that have changed his life for the better. And for me, I just feel like have kept us on the right trajectory for being very healthy. So at LifeVantage, we call ourselves an activation company. Now, many people know the term supplementation. And, Laura and I were talking before we started this recording. And in the world where functional medicine is becoming more prevalent, a big thing that can happen is over supplementation. And so when we talk about supplementation, we're basically talking about it's when you add nutrients to the body and you're basically filling deficiencies. But with activation, the difference is what we're doing, it's like a light switch. We are turning on enzymes, hormones, proteins, pathways in the body that already exist. We're turning them on to get them functioning the way that they were meant to function. And when that happens, magic can happen within your body. So we are the activation company. This is our pipeline of products. As you can see, we have anything from daily nutrients that work with the circadian rhythm of your body to anti-aging, heart and eye health, skin care, hair care, energy, immunity, and even something for canines. So make sure you get back to the person that invited you and they can kind of fill in the gaps if there's other things that interest you after you hear about some of our main activators. So LifeVantage, the story of this company, we have been around since 2009. And in 2005, what happened is there was an ABC investigative report that happened. And from that ABC report, that's what started the research. That's what started eyeballs on our flagship product. And we became LifeVantage in 2009. And today we are publicly traded. We have sold over $2 billion in products. We're publicly traded on the NASDAQ, and we continue to get more and more eyes on us as far as publications that LifeVantage is put into because of our technology and because of that term activation and how far ahead we are of the curve of people really taking control of their health. So the ABC investigative report you can see here on the left with John Quinones, they basically went in to debunk the findings of our flagship product called Protandim Nerf 2. And what they were hearing was the term anti-aging, and they wanted to debunk that. And they did a blood test on John Quinones, and they found that after 2 weeks, his oxidative stress levels were that of an infant child. Now, I did not know what oxidative stress was when this was introduced to me. I'm sure Laura did. She loves research. And I can't wait for you to hear from her. I didn't know what that was, but as Laura will talk about too, there's places you can go to research what that means. And what I learned early on was that high levels of oxidative stress in our body are a bad thing. And they are linked to many different disease states. And I found they were linked to what my husband was dealing with, what my mom was dealing with, what people in my family history were dealing with. So for me, it just kind of made sense that if there were a product that reduced oxidative stress and high levels of oxidative stress were linked to everything in my family history, I just connected the dots and it made sense that I should probably take this for the rest of my life. So after the ABC primetime aired, there were researchers and doctors all over the world that said, if your product does what you say it's going to do, we want to study it with other disease states. And that's what started happening. And today you can go to a site called PubMed. You can type in the word Protandim, and you're going to see all of those studies that happened because of this ABC report. And a lot of people wanted the product after that was aired, but the researcher and scientist that created it, he didn't have infrastructure to get it out to everyone. So from there, it was in the retail sector first, but no one really knew what it did sitting on a store shelf. So in 2009, we became LifeVantage. We put it in the hands of people like Laura and I, and today we're continuing to share it. And we honestly are looking for more voices to help us share this because we need to make sure everyone know this exists. So you can see here when we talk about oxidative stress, that if you have high levels of oxidative stress without our flagship product Protandim, you can see how those high levels just continue to increase as we age. It's part of the aging process. It's like if you cut open an apple and it starts to brown, that is oxidative stress. But when you take Protandim, you can see after taking Protandim, it reduces that oxidative stress and keeps it in line. So you can't even tell the difference between an 80-year-old and a 20-year-old. And they even showed that on the ABC report. Now, the big thing is Protandim Nerf 2, we can state with 100% assurity, we can claim that it reduces oxidative stress by an average of 40% in 30 days. There is not another plant-based product in the world that can make that claim. And as I said, after the ABC report aired, there were institutions all over the world that said, we want to study your product. Well, one such institute, they studied the pathway, that NRF2 pathway that turns on antioxidant enzymes. They wanted to study that. And this is a study that came from Washington State. It states NRF2 may well become the most extraordinary therapeutic and most extraordinary preventative breakthrough in the history of medicine. The history of medicine, that is what we're talking about tonight. And what, again, if you take Protandim Nerf 2, your body will make its own antioxidants, flipping the switch, activating a pathway, turning on your body's own antioxidants. 5 plants put together in a synergistic way that makes those antioxidants a million times more effective than if you were to take an antioxidant supplement or eat blueberries. You're getting a million times more from taking this pill. So it's backed by 30 peer-reviewed studies and 7 US patents. This is the one product. There were 2 products when I got into LifeVantage, and this was the one that started a transformation for my husband. He was like a walking time bomb, and this was just everything for him. It calmed him down. It helped him take control of his health, and it also put him on a path of just better thinking and actually not even being able to, he didn't have to deal with as much inflammation as he was before. He had a tough time sometimes working. He'd get inflammation in his foot, and this pill just turned everything around for him. So that is our flagship product, Protandim Nerf 2. And we took the name Protandim and we branded it into 3 different products that all activate different pathways. So we're talking about reducing oxidative stress, boosting mitochondria, and boosting NAD. Now, if you listen to any health podcast today or look on Instagram, any influencers, they are talking about those three pathways. And we, again, with a blend of plants, synergistically by taking them, you are activating pathways in the body to boost all of those mechanisms. And when you can cut down oxidative stress, give your cells more energy, and help your cells detox and cleanse, this is called our trisynergizer. What happens is when you put products together in LifeVantage, when they create new products, we're always looking to see how do they interact together? What is the synergy that takes place? And these three together are called our trisynergizer. And I will say, if you are watching this and you're a woman in that menopausal era, these three products are your best friend. Now, I know, Laura, that you have an amazing story when it comes to these products as well. So tell us and fill us in on how these products have enhanced your life and why you love them so much.
Well, thank you so much, Tanya. So yes, I was introduced to Protandim almost 10 years ago on Thanksgiving Day. And just a little bit of a backstory. When I was 23, I had been diagnosed with an autoimmune condition, and I was put on a prescription. And for the 3 years after my diagnosis on that prescription, most of the time they were just checking my levels and trying to moderate the prescription. And it was really challenging. And for me, I know it's not the route everyone would take, but for me, what I chose was to actually go off that prescription because my symptoms that was having seemed to be less than the side effects that I was dealing with after I was introduced to that. Now, that said, I was still having the symptoms of the autoimmune condition, and so I continued to search for other things. I was actually ordering something called a desiccated thyroid hormone from New Zealand. So again, it was like a supplemental thyroid. And although I felt that that was better, there were still ways that I had to moderate it and monitor what was going on. So then fast forward, um, 20 years actually. So 23, I was first diagnosed. At 43, I had my twins. And after they were born, I was really struggling again with hormones and my health. And and it was quite a challenge. And so I was pulling out my hair. And a lot of people will say, well, Laura, you have 7 kids. But it wasn't just my children. It was in the shower, just fistfuls of hair. I had headaches where I would sing songs to my kids about headaches throughout the day because that was just what was constantly going on in my life. With my twins, I couldn't pick them up and carry them because I just had so much stiffness and didn't trust myself holding them. So I would scoop them up in my elbows and hold them tight to my body. And I would sit on my bottom to go up and down the stairs because each step just was excruciating. When I'd get up in the morning, that first step, it felt like I was stepping on glass. And so when I was introduced to Protandim, I had seen a number of doctors and had a number of blood tests. And gratefully, those blood tests came back and everything was fine. Everything was fine. I don't know if anyone can relate to that, where you are seeking help because things are not feeling great in your life, but all of your blood work comes back and it's fine. And as reassuring as that is, it doesn't really help because I knew I wasn't fine. Um, and so when I was introduced to Protandim on Thanksgiving Day, which I don't believe is a coincidence, the woman who was actually, she was talking about it to someone else at our Thanksgiving dinner. I just overheard her saying things like milk thistle and green tea and turmeric. And what she didn't know is that I was in the midst of a milk thistle detox and that when I had the energy, I was juicing turmeric. And and I was drinking green tea because who doesn't know the benefits of green tea? But when I was introduced to this product, it truly was the synergy of the ingredients together that made a difference. And so her introduction, I was curious. And I am a science girl. I'm a bit of a science geek. And so what really caught my attention was the research scientist who was part of LifeVantage and the head of our scientific advisory board had discovered one of the antioxidants in our body in the 1960s. And it was an endogenous antioxidant. And Tanya said, I probably knew what oxidative stress was, but I didn't. But when I started to research what it was, I was like, how come everybody doesn't know about this? How come I've never heard of oxidative stress? And I will tell you, it's been 10 years. And if your doctor has not talked to you about oxidative stress, why not? That NRF2 study out of Washington State University is 10 years old. And NRF2 may well be the most extraordinary breakthrough in the history of medicine. So why isn't anyone talking about it 10 years later? It is amazing. And so I was introduced to Protandim on Thanksgiving. I bought it for myself for Christmas. I told myself I'd take it for 6 months. My birthday's the middle of January, and I kid you not, by my birthday, I was feeling better. I could just tell that it was having an impact. And so I'm super excited to share this synergy with you. I'm super excited to share these products with you because, yes, I have my own personal story. And yes, I've met hundreds of people with their own personal stories. But the reality is, our stories are backed by the science, and we are approved by the FDA to say that we lower oxidative stress 40% in 30 days. And as Tanya mentioned, there is nothing else out there that can make that same claim, and especially not anything natural. So God didn't create any of us in isolation, and He didn't create our bodies to work in isolation. So again, supplements tend to have a nutrient or one ingredient that we are trying to fulfill a deficiency with. But our body just doesn't work that way. And so the thing I love about this company too is how they look at the synergy of not only each ingredient and how it works with the other ingredients in the product, but how it works with the other products in our product line. And so we have this tri-synergizer, but the company didn't stop there. They continued to do research and they continued to make other activators that activate other pathways in the body.
Thank you, Laura. And one such activator, perfectly laid out, was our collagen. So we released collagen just a few years ago, and our collagen has 10 types of collagen in it. Now, I was a girl taking a powder collagen from Costco, really not knowing the benefits of it, just knowing I should probably be taking it because it seemed like everybody in the world was. So when we came out with one, well, education came with it. And not all collagens are the same. And I know Laura can speak to that as well. But again, it is one thing to have a collagen that's a powder and maybe your gut will have a hard time breaking it down and probably only has one type of collagen in it. It is a completely other thing to have a collagen that actually activates, replenishes, and maintains your body's own collagen within it. So this, what we did when we created our collagen, we said, what will happen when we put it with our flagship product, Protandim? And there was a synergy that took place. And we call this synergy, these two together, our healthy glow stack. So you take the collagen, you take Protandim, your body is making, again, its own antioxidant and its own collagen. And again, when we combine those, it's activating, replenishing, and maintaining your body's own collagen for your skins, joints, and significantly reduces cellular stress. This is when we talk about science, we did a study on the synergy of these two. And you can see the impact below, the study results for yourself, the percentage of how everything is increasing in the body. But what happened with this is we found that these two together stop the cellular stress cycle. And that is a really big deal because that is helping your body to recover from that constant stress. It's going to affect your immune system and it's going to get you back to more optimal function. Don't we all want that happening in our body? And I know for you, Laura, that collagen brought on like another layer to your story. So can you tell us about that, please?
Yeah. So Tanya was saying that she was the girl who was taking collagen. And quite honestly, I was the girl going, no, why are we adding collagen? It doesn't work. And so when our company came out with this, I took a bit of a step back and was like, oh dear. And so again, the powdered collagens to me, not only did they taste nasty and they didn't really mix well in liquids, but they also didn't assimilate into your body. And so they didn't really do what they were supposed to do. Now, when our collagen came out, again, I continued to just keep learning more, which is the other thing I love about this company and these products is that it challenges me personally to continue to learn and grow. So there are 28 known types of collagen in our body. And I say known types because one of them was just discovered in the last 5 years. There's so much we still don't know. So again, if you're taking a supplemental collagen, you're like a mixologist. You're taking what you think you know your body needs. But our LifeVantage products don't work like that. Since they activate the body to make what it needs, the body knows what it needs. So the results we saw from this synergy when it came out, yes, it helped your hair, skin, and nails, and you will glow when you take it. But it did so much more. So again, I dug into the research and it's not listed on this page here, but there was a whole paragraph on something called NF kappa B. Again, I didn't know what NF kappa B was, and so I typed it in. NF lowercase k capital B, NF kappa B. Well, I was blown away by what NF kappa B is and what it does in our body. And so we have the Protandim NRF2, which is a master antioxidant and helps lower oxidative stress. And we have our liquid collagen, which works for your hair, skin, and nails and all and your eyes and your joints and your muscles. But when they are together, the synergy creates a, a method to activate our NF kappa B factor. And this is part of our immune system. So again, I have an autoimmune disorder. And when I typed in my autoimmune disorder paired with optimizing my NF kappa B pathway, there are so many correlations and so many benefits. A lot of people with autoimmune will actually take an immunosuppressant, which stops your immune system. God did not create our immune system so that we could create something synthetic to stop our immune system from working. What we need to do is optimize our immune system. An autoimmune system is almost left on, like it's auto drive. It is left in the on mode. It's exhausting. It wears out our system. It doesn't function the way it's supposed to. But if we can optimize our system and not suppress it, but let it go on and off. That is how our body is intended to function. And so optimizing this stress response, optimizing this NF kappa B pathway was amazing. I also have a connective tissue disorder that quite honestly, I didn't know about when I started collagen. But one of the symptoms of this is that I have these fat nodules in my in my arms and in my legs. They're called lipoma. And at last count, I had 34 of them. And I've had them for decades, 20 years. And I have constantly been seeking to understand why I have these accumulations of hard fat. They would bruise, they were sensitive to the touch. I had one removed in my arm because when I was nursing my daughter, the weight of her head on my arm was so painful. And so I had them remove the fat nodule, which again was the only thing I could think of. Nobody knew what it was. So guess what? NF-kappa B has changed my connective tissue so that these lipoma that used to be visible through linen pants or through my yoga pants, through my jeans, they're no longer visible through my pants. They're still there, but it changed the makeup of my connective tissue so that they are no longer hard, they don't bruise, they don't stick out of my skin. I absolutely attribute it to our liquid collagen paired with actually the next product, which is our fat burn. And so these two I started taking at about the same time. So quite honestly, I can't tell you which came first, but together what this fat burn does is it makes our fat metabolically active. So when babies are born, they have something called brown fat, and it brown fat has mitochondria in it, and brown fat nourishes the body. It gives off heat and it's active. As we get older, our brown fat turns to hard white fat. Hard white fat is not metabolically active. It is not good for us. It leads to visceral fat accumulation and other things. So our fat burn product is specially formulated to change our fat back to metabolically active, softer, brown fat. And so for me, again, the synergy of that Protandim, the collagen, plus the fat burn was absolutely life-changing with this connective tissue disorder. Now, fast forward again, I said I didn't know I had this disorder. I learned the name of my lipedema, which is the connective tissue disorder, in November. In November, I learned about it because our company, LifeVantage, released yet another new product October of last year. And when they released this product in October, there was a woman on Instagram who, I'm going to cry, who had such incredible benefits for her condition called lipedema that it actually came up in a business meeting that she was so successful with her business. And so I wanted to follow her to see what she was doing. And as I turned to her Instagram page to see what she was doing, and she was describing the accumulation of fat that was painful to the touch, that bruised easily, that was mostly in her arms and legs. This whole list of things, high cholesterol, but not really obesity. All of these things, I was like, check, check, check. That's the condition I have that I've been looking for a name for decades. And I truly believe because I've been on the Protandim for 10 years, it had kept that condition from progressing to the point that it was out of control because it is an inflammatory response and an autoimmune condition. And so because I had been able to lower my inflammation and keep that at bay, I do think it helped. Now that said, another characteristic of lipedema is that it is a fat that is resistant to diet and exercise. So how do you lose weight if you have a condition that is resistant to diet and exercise? Enter mind body GLP-1.
Okay, perfect. So amazing, Laura. What a story. And yes, with Mind Body, this system, as Laura said, came out in October. Now, when you take the Mind Body system, your body makes its own GLP-1. Now, when I heard of that, I thought GLP-1 was the shot that people were taking to get skinny. And I quickly learned upon this system that GLP-1 is a hormone in your lower gut. It has great responsibility. It has responsibility of talking to the brain, talking to the pancreas, talking to the liver, helping with blood sugar regulation, helping with insulin regulation. There could not have been a better name for this system when we talk about mind body. Now, we did a clinical study, and you can see on this screen what that clinical study did. And the one thing I want to make sure we point out is that 100% of the people did not lose weight on that study. And they lost up to 27% in visceral fat that Laura was just talking about.
I
But
just want to correct you real quick. They
yes,
did lose weight. They did not lose muscle.
yes, did not lose
Sorry.
muscle. Thank you. I didn't even hear what I said. Okay, they did not lose muscle. Thank you. Um,
Mhm.
yes, which is so important. But I just really want you to know that this system is all about your metabolic health. I talked to a woman the other day that said this system helped cleared up her cystic acne. I've heard another story of their dementia being better than it ever has before because of this system. So when we talk about the GLP-1 hormone and activating it naturally within your body, that is a really big deal. And we, of course, took this system and we paired it with Protandim Nerve 2, our flagship product that reduces oxidative stress. And of course, there was a synergy that happened. So we call those three together our healthy weight stack. And then we studied that. And we found that when you take those in conjunction, there is a renovation crew that activates 22 new genes to restore, rebuild, and renew internal organs. The fact that we can state that blows my mind. That is something that is huge. This is why we're talking metabolic health. It's a really big picture of what this can do for people. And you can see it helps tissue cells remain structurally strong. It helps tissue cells regenerate, and it improves coordination, signaling, and impulses with tissue cells and nerves. That is a big deal. So we are going to show you some before and afters, right? So this is my husband, Kyle, on the left. Kyle has been on many different medications for 30 years. And he literally just, and I thought too, we just thought that how Kyle looked, which was not bad. I loved my teddy bear Kyle, type 2 diabetic, had high blood sugar, like I said, was a walking time bomb. Introduced to Protandim Nerve 2, taking the Trisynergizer. Life was going great. It was very steady, very great. Wasn't getting worse. Mind Body comes out. He's always my guinea pig. He was not looking to lose weight, and there were other plans for him. He started wearing a blood glucose monitor to measure his blood sugar. He got some guidance on his food and his food intake, the order in which he eats it, how many carbohydrates he eats. And he has since lost over 40 pounds, and he is off 4 of his medications. Now, he has done this on his own accord, measuring how his body feels. How am I feeling? What's happening? Getting coaching along the way. And then when he went to see his doctor and he had blood work done, his doctor thought it was another patient. He could not believe that it was Kyle. And Kyle has said to me at the age of 56, he's like, I never thought my body was capable of this. Never, ever. He literally is aging backwards. Call him Benjamin Button. I'm telling you, it is such a blessing what these products, what activation does, what mind body can do for you. And it has been a consistent journey for him. It's been since October. He has stayed the course and he has just stayed consistent, and he's done the things he needs to do to enhance his activation story. And this is what's happening for him. So, Laura, this is your image on the right. Talk to us about that.
Yes. So again, I kind of mentioned that I was introduced to this concept of lipedema, which is another condition that I have, which is resistant to diet and exercise. So when I heard that, like the wind was taken out of my sails. I've always been healthy. My background's nutrition. I knew what to do and thought I was doing it right, and just always struggled with this weight. Well, when I started on the GLP-1, again, I was a bit hesitant at the introduction of it, and I lost 10 pounds almost instantly. More than the 10 pounds, though, I lost inches. I lost inches on each arm, each leg, my waist. It was incredible to see the loss of inches that I experienced as well. Now, I'll admit, because of other things in my life right now and family things, I have stopped taking the GLP-1. But I have maintained that 10-pound weight loss, which is something I could not say before. I always joked that I've lost 100 pounds this year because I would gain it and then lose it and then gain it and then lose it again. Even though it was only 5 pounds, I would do that 100 times. Since October, that is not the case. I did lose a little bit more. So I probably was 15 pounds at one point. So I have gained back a little bit of it, but I have kept off that other 10 pounds, which is huge. And I am looking forward to starting again August 1st. I will do a continuous glucose monitor again. I will share my progress with everyone because I loved the system. I loved how I felt on it. And one of the things was just that food noise, which I didn't really understand before we started it. But my daughter was teasing me because we went on a college visit, and the first college we visited was the first day I started on my system. And I had granola bars in my pocket, and we're on the tour, and I'm opening this granola bar in the middle of the tour, and she just gave me this glare like, are you kidding me, Mom? You can't make it through the tour without a granola bar? And then 4 days later, we were at a school that had snacks in every room that we visited. And I'm known to like put some in my purse or take some home for the boys for later. And I did not touch a snack and I didn't finish my meal. And I just felt great. My mood, everything was so different. And so, this mind body system, I love the name of it. There was a presentation the other night with another one of our functional nutrition specialists, and she was talking about how the communication system of our hormones. So, like when we think of hormones, we often think of specific hormones. So, we might think of our thyroid, or we might think of testosterone, or estrogen, or progesterone. We have certain things that we think of. We don't necessarily think of insulin as a hormone. We don't necessarily think of cortisol, which is stress related and sleep related, as a hormone. And we may not have known that GLP-1 was one of the multitude of hormones produced in our gut. But what Gloria taught us the other night is that these hormones are for communication. And we've heard about the gut-brain axis and the connection between our gut and our brain. What she taught us is that 80% of the communication on the gut brain axis is communicated from the gut to the brain. And so that's why we can't necessarily make the conscious effort to just say, oh, I'm going to eat less. It has to come from our gut as this communication that says, oh, you're full. Oh, you've had enough to eat. Oh, I'm releasing your insulin. Oh, I've got glucagon on board. Oh, I've got the whole thing going in order. And again, and it's not just for this communication, it's not just a switch that we flip that's either on or off. It is this intricate biochemical, hormonal relationship that is going on that works with our body, with our metabolism, with our digestive system, with our endocrine system, with all of these systems, again, in synergy. So we cannot separate just one piece of it without mucking up the rest of the system. So a lot of times if people are taking an injection, it's one piece of it and it's mucking up the rest of the system. But because this activates your body to work the way that God intended, it optimizes all of those systems. So your mood and so everything else falls in line with the benefits that are coming from it. Um, the body is always making new cells, but it's also important to make healthy new cells. Sometimes we are replicating dysfunctional cells. And so, with again, the synergy of all of these products, we are detoxifying, we're making energy, and we are clearing out the communication between all of our cells. It's just absolutely fantastic and so exciting.
Love it. Thank you, Laura. Laura, I'm going to have you take it from here. We just have a couple more products left, you guys. So thank you for sticking with us.
Yes,
But I
thank
know,
you.
Laura, you're super passionate about the skincare that we have, and you've got an amazing result that you can share about your mom as well. And then we're wrapping it up with a study that Laura did locally when I mentioned at the very beginning of this how passionate she became about brain health because of concussions her children had had. So you're going to hear about that, and then we're about ready to wrap it up for you. Go ahead,
Yes, I was going
Laura.
to say I could talk for hours and
I
hours. I get so
love it.
excited. So thank you for your patience and thank you for listening. Um, because I'm such a science geek, when I was introduced to all of this, I did not have a skincare routine. I guess I was young. I had good skin. I didn't think anything of it. But as I was reading the number of published peer-reviewed papers on Protandim at the time, there were two papers on skincare, and it just caught my attention. My father has a history of bad skin, let's say. And so when I read this research that was put out by LSU, funded by the Skin Cancer Foundation, I changed my skincare routine to include our skincare line. And it was just fascinating and beautiful to see some of the effects that happened. Part of my business plan, I have made a vow to really only share pictures of people I know personally. And so I love sharing Kyle's story. I love sharing stories from Tanya. But this next picture is near and dear to my heart as well. My mom had a skin condition. She had had it for 3 years. She's taken all sorts of pharmaceuticals and injections and topicals, and quite honestly, she had some serious side effects and nothing helped. And then a new product for us was released called True Renew. And I said, Mom, you've been so sick on everything else you've taken. Just try this. And this picture, is it on the right? The before picture was how her skin was constantly flaring. And then the after picture was after one treatment. So her skin has continued to improve over the last year and a half since the product was released. But it was fascinating that she had tried everything and nothing worked. And I shouldn't be surprised, but our product worked overnight. This is our True Science True Renew. It's part of our skincare line. There are 4 different products that just help the health of your skin. So yes, our Protandim helps from the inside, but we do have these products that can help from the outside as well. Our skin is our largest organ. It is responsible for detoxing and for protection, but it's also a canary in the coal mine. And so we want to keep our skin cells healthy, and it should be part of our healthcare routine. Real quick. Oh, I could talk for hours just on Axio. So Axio is our brain drink, and I, again, love science. So I had the opportunity to do a brain scan research study with our local high school. And again, the data and the numbers and the images all were so exciting to me. I had been on our Axio product for years. I have an incredible story of how it helped me with my brain, but to be able to see objectively some of the indicators and some of the results was fascinating. So this is called Axio, and it's our brain drink. And if you want to flip, Tanya, it helps with focus and concentration and memory. It gives you clarity. It supports your mood. I mean, what better way to show all of these executive functions than a third-grade spelling test, right? You can see that the letters are better organized and lined up. They didn't get as many wrong. They're everything just improves with Axio. It's B vitamins, it's green tea, it's antioxidants, it's magnesium. It has a calming effect on the brain, but still somehow gives you energy as well. And it is just one of my favorite things to share is our Axio drink.
This, thank you so much, Laura. I love Axio too. I do a double every morning. I do a decaf with the caffeinated. There's two different kinds, caffeinated and decaf. And this is from a mutual friend of mine and Laura's. Her name's Amy, and she does homeschooling as well. And this was her third grade daughter that she said she was having a tough time with the spelling test at the moment. So she said, you know what? We're going to take a break. 15-minute break. You're going to drink your Axio. You go to your corner. I'll go to mine. We'll come back and we'll try this again. And 15 minutes later, after having her drink the Axio, you can see the difference in the images. It works that quickly. And sorry about the dog, in calming the brain down and allowing you to focus and have mental clarity. My daughter took her cosmetology boards today, and I'm like, first thing we're going to do, and she goes, make Axio. And I'm like, you're going to have Axio, because I just knew it would allow her to not feel as overwhelmed as she typically does when taking an exam. And that's exactly what it did. Anything else you want to say, Laura, before we wrap up the product portion?
No, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for your time and attention. You might need an Axio to get through next time.
Well, we'll wrap up real quick. And what we want to make sure that you know is how to get the products. So if you're looking for more information, get back to the person that invited you. But we want you to know we've got different levels of pricing for the products. There's retail, there's customer, and there's consultant. And either way, we have stacks. So we have stacks for our customers. And what we do with stacks is we pair certain products together, and then that stack offers you a special discount as a customer. As customers, you get 10% off retail, you accumulate rewards that you can use for further products, and you can change, advance your order, put it out, whatever you want to do, you're in full control as a customer. And right now, you can see everything that we talked about tonight basically is in the new stack we're highlighting right now to the end of September. And this is called our high speed health stack. So for customers, it's an $87 savings. You're basically getting our NB system, the GLP-1, our fat burn, our flagship product Protandim, and Protandim NAD you will get for free. And then also for new customers, I'm jealous about this because it's so amazing, our mango hand cream, which will, it's so luscious. You're going to love, love, love it. You're going to want everybody to be a new customer just so you can get that guarantee. And then if you're thinking about this as a possible business for you to have on the side, this has been one of the biggest blessings in my life. I know Laura could say the same thing. 13 and a half years of doing this. It's such a humble way to be able to help your family financially when you get to help people be healthy. I cannot think of a better way to do it. And we really, truly, as a company, as LifeVantage, we need more mouths getting the word out about activation. And if you decide to be a consultant, you are not in this alone. You can use tools like this where people come forward and do presentations on your behalf to share with people that you know. So as a consultant, we've got the high speed health stack for a new consultant. It's $245, and the savings for you is $127, just a little over. And again, you're getting that NAD for free, and then you're also getting our start kit for free. So we just want to thank you so much for being with us tonight. We appreciate you taking time, or if you're taking time to watch this, we're just so glad that you got this information. Get back to the person that invited you, let them know where you're at. They'll be following up with you, and then they will help you get started in whatever way you see fit. Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks for being here, ladies.
Thank you.